There we go. No one's ever started to talk like that before. So, at the very beginning of the science of mind, before the preface, before everything, this is what is written. These lessons are dedicated to that truth which frees me from myself and sets me on the pathway of a new experience, which enables me to see through the myths to the ethereal and the changeless reality. Let's say that together, shall we? These lessons are dedicated to the truth which frees me from myself and sets me on the pathway of a new experience, which enables me to see through the myths to the ethereal and the changeless reality. What a way to open up a book. So every month, every year, we start off the first 4 chapters. And so recap, the thing itself, which was the first week. I think Dr. Dale did that one. There is nothing supernatural about the study of life. That is one of the prefaces that caught my attention with this philosophy. It's the science of mind. It's not a religion. It's a philosophy. It's a way of thinking. Because it is scientific proof. It is provable. And that's what we're talking about. So the first chapter is talking about the thing itself. The second week, that was Dr. Laura. Oh, Dr. Joe, I got those backed up. It's all right. The way it works. Spirit works through us by working through us. You are the action of Spirit. By praying or thinking about what you want to experience and doing nothing, Spirit can only do that action by means of you. So if you're not moving, if you're not willing to put the effort into it, your life won't change and you'll just sit and experience the same thing day in and day out, year after year. Then, Dr. Laura, what it does, it has given all. We have not yet accepted the greater gift. That means, it's self-explanatory, but I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into it. The idea of God being omnipotent, omnipresent, it kind of goes in one ear out the other. You hear these words, but do you really think about what does that actually mean? What Ernest Holmes is saying here is that everything, every single thing that could possibly be imagined has already been created in that mind of God. That ethereal essence is already a reality. The limitation is you and I being able to understand that grasp of that consciousness to allow it to then become form through the law, which is the mechanical aspect of spirit. And then we come to this, how to use it. Great, these past 3 weeks we've told you what spirit is. Now we get to have the fun part where we put the rubber to the road. Knowing this doesn't do anything unless I'm willing to do the work. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So it works for us by flowing through us. The law we did not create. This law we cannot change. There's nothing to change about spirit. There's only the ability or the receptivity to change our view on what we think God, spirit, the universe, the ethereal. It's our job to change how we view that power. And it is a power. And it's always available, and it's always now. By conscious thinking, we give conscious direction to it, and it consciously or unconsciously responds to our advance along the line of our conscious or subjective direction. So let's unpack that. Spirit is always working for us. Now, whether you believe this philosophy or not, or whether you have another foundation of a religion, perfect. That's why I call this a philosophy. We're not saying change your views of what you think your God is or what God is to you. We are here to teach you how to take that from a theoretical application of wishing and hoping and coming to a certain place on a certain day, standing and kneeling and bending over and singing nice hymns. We're here to teach you what to do with it the other 6 days of the week. To take this philosophy from this seat and take it outside and be the change that you want to see in this world. Conscious direction, teaching you what is my relationship to that. I'm learning how to use this aspect of myself, that divine essence that's always been there. I've lived most of my life not understanding that or not even knowing that this was there. But Ernest Holmes is saying this, that whether you are conscious of it or not, does that matter? Because it is a fact that we are the energy of spirit. And so as I've lived my life from an unconscious aspect of life, all the things that have happened have been from that relative plane of existence or that relative plane of thinking. By coming here and learning how to shift, not reprogram, but shift my thinking and my relationship to what this life is, I have now grabbed the helm of my ship. Instead of being a passenger or on a leaf in a pond or down the river, floating and hoping that this might happen and that might happen, but thinking that you have no control over your own life, Ernest Holmes is saying that you are absolutely wrong. Sorry about that. I'm always doing this. This is nice. Well, where am I? One more back? There. All right. But I have to change my consciousness, my relationships, find out who I really am and the power that has always been there. But because my life has unfolded at a certain level, I've realized it's not because I was bad or I need to be punished by some ethereal deity. I've been the one in control. I've been the one who have made those bad decisions, and through the logical and sequential order that the way the universe works, the way spirit works, I have now reaped the rewards. Or, what's the word? I'll stick with the rewards. Whether it's a positive reward or a negative reward. There we go. But this book, this philosophy, again, teaches you how to change your life. We want to uplift you. Ernest Holmes wants to uplift you. I know it's uplifted me because I tell you what, I've been in the ditches a few times. Heck, I was in a ditch just yesterday. And I'm telling you what, there's times I've got to watch old videos. I'm always constantly watching old videos of past services from Dr. Joe, Dr. Dor, and Dr. Dale, to remind myself of who I am. And by changing that, things start to work a little bit more easily. The cogwheels of my life are now in alignment, and they're not getting caught up on each other because I've allowed the oil of spirit. The oil is that belief, that love, that knowingness that allows the gears of my life to coincide, to work together, to rise me up to an even higher consciousness, which, by default, what we're talking about, creates a higher level of living. And that's what we're doing here. While it is true that the wrong conditions exist, they could not remain unless there was someone to experience them. Oh my goodness. We've been through such a year. Every 4 years, we go through the same type of thing. But being in this philosophy, I sit back and I watch the circus. And that's what I really call it. It's the spiritual circus of this side, this idea, that idea. But I believe, for myself, that everyone is missing the mark. They may have a right idea, but when I start to think that my idea is the way and yours is wrong, you're incorrect, and I'm better than you because I've got the right thinking in my head, that's where the arrogance comes in. That's where the fality of life happens. But life is working perfectly because I may be thinking negatively about something. Spirit always says yes. William, you have a bad idea about something? Here you go. Here's your proof. And then I start to think, oh, I'm so right. I'm so smart. But then when I really look at myself and I see how I've thought, or I don't take into consideration someone else's thoughts about how they see life, and bring it back to that scientific curiosity that science is all about, finding out how it works. Not just thinking, okay, this is how it is, but no, diving deeper. Why do I have those beliefs? Why do I think the way that I do? Is my way correct? Let me see what other people are thinking and doing. And that's why this place, we're non-denominational. We love atheists. It doesn't matter what you believe because, again, I go back. This is not a religion. This is a philosophy teaching you how to control your thoughts to create a better life for yourself. Conditions are not entities. We are entities. Cannot that which is conscious cast out that which has no consciousness? There we go, right there. I am not a victim. I may be reaping the rewards of a negative thought pattern that I've created, but being a victim means I have no way out, that there's no exit for me. Sorry, William, that's not how it works. Each of us has an exit. By re-examining how you're thinking about yourself, how you're viewing the world, we are in fact the change that we want to see in this world. That's our tagline. Be the change you want to see in this world. So when you have that thought of negativity, just realize, is that what you really want to create in this world? Is this what I want to experience? The answer is no. I want something better than what I had yesterday. Don't you? How many people? There we go. Some people are with me. I like that. And other ones just like to keep their hands over because their hands are cold and they want to keep them warm because it's cold. Whew. What about my friends who talk negatively? Should I not talk to them? This is not what we're talking about. We will not refuse to help the helpless or lift up the fallen, but we will refuse to wallow in the mud because of our sympathies. And if the blind lead the blind, both shall end up in the ditch. Sympathies. A while back, there was a person who talked about sympathies and empathies, and I don't agree with that. I really believe, and especially if Ernest Holmes has mentioned it, it has to be true. And it logically makes sense. If I know an answer or a pathway, wouldn't it behoove me to be helpful to someone who might have that wrong idea? Better yet, to be able to understand where that person's coming from. By me able to understand their feelings, I get a better grasp on what's the best pathway to help them on their journey. What is it that I can say to help you to where it clicks? 20 years ago, it clicked for me in the back row. I was not religious at all. In fact, I made it a point to stay out of places like this because I didn't like the dogma of going in, kumbaya, loving this, oh, we're all one, and before people even got in their cars, they're talking, oh, did you see the hat on that one? Or did you see those shoes on that one? Woo! Something better. And that's why this philosophy has really moved me so much, is because I see I'm no longer a victim. It sucks. Because it's so easy to say, he did it, she did it. But how powerful is it to sit in the back row and have it click and go, wait a minute, I have a choice. I choose love. I choose acceptance. I choose that my life is better. Yes, reality sets in. I have to deal with now. But my vision is about the future. Where am I going? Not just hopping in my car, driving willy-nilly, thinking I'm going to make it to the next Firebirds hockey. I've got to have a pathway. But it's also saying that don't refuse, just because you get into this philosophy and you start to become, when you become aware of your thought patterns. This isn't a philosophy to where, oh, because I have friends that are negatively speaking, or they're down in the ditch, I should let them alone. No, that's not what this is about. You can still have those friends, and you can still hear those ideas that they're talking about. And I do. I have friends. But while they're talking about it, I'm seeing them as their spiritual truth, that they are divine beings having a divine experience. And yes, I throw in a little bit here and a little bit there. You can't change anyone who's not willing to change. You can't cram this stuff down someone's throat. However, you can do the airplane and open your mouth and slip in a little spirituality here, a little spirituality there. And maybe someday they'll realize that they're no longer that victim that they've been told their whole entire life that they were. That they have to accept some sort of punishment today to get some sort of ethereal reward tomorrow. Let me ask you, how many parents are there out here? You as a parent, would you ever tell your child day in and day out that they are less than, that they have to be punished daily because someday you're going to get some great reward? No, as a parent, you would uplift your child every single day. But when they did something wrong, yes, there would be a consequence. Spirit is logical. If you can say to yourself that you would never treat your child like that, how can you have a faith based on something that is opposite of what is purely logical? We build up here because we know that Spirit only does one thing, and that is to expand, to grow, to become more of itself. How? By means of you and me. By my consciousness being raised, and by my awakening happening, I can be the catalyst for someone who may be going through a dark time, who may feel like there's no way out of the ditch. And I could say something that comes out of nowhere. I don't even remember what I said. But it could be that aha, that seed that is planted in the spiritual soil of your soul, and that plant begins to grow. The world is all right when we view it correctly. That is a tough one. It truly is. And I'm not talking about political boundaries and stuff like that. How about what's in my own? How about my neighbor, for Christ's sake? Oh, that neighbor. Ooh, and that damn dog. There I go. There I go again. I'm in the ditch. That wonderful dog that is so happy, that is barking and joyfully allowing everyone to know that I'm here and I'm happy. There, maybe that's how I need to see that one. There you go. Protecting his house. How are you protecting your house? How are you protecting this? Are you allowing yourself to be open to new ideas, new experiences? Or are you shutting yourself off, afraid of anything, and closing yourself off, and then complaining to everyone around you that my life sucks? I could never get ahead. Answer is yes. Spirit puts it right on your path. It's called a demonstration. It's not called wishful thinking. It's a demonstration. This is a science of mental thought. What I think about, I create. And that reality, changing that thought from ethereal to manifest in form, is called a demonstration. It's the natural and sequential process of moving thought into form. Treatment, affirmative prayer. Dr. Holmes called it a treatment. Nowadays, we're a little bit softer because we are trying to broaden our acceptance by people who are not necessarily open or familiar with how we talk. It's like learning another language. So a treatment is nothing more than a prayer. It's called a treatment because, again, Ernest Holmes based this philosophy upon science. Things that are repeatable, can be measured, quantified. The mold is formed in the subject of mind by the treatment makes possible a concrete manifestation. The treatment is in the intelligent energy in the visible world. It is a spiritual entity working through the law of mind, and it is an actual force now consciously directed. Therefore, it must produce specific results. I like that. Concrete. Can't get more solid than that. So that means I need to change how I think. And how do I do that? By coming here and listening to the words. But more importantly, listen to every conversation that you have with everyone. Because when I listen from the vantage point of everything is spirit, everything is good, everything is expanding, I get to listen to even people I don't agree with and see spiritual reality and truth in what they're saying. There's two sides to every coin. It's the same coin, people. That's what I've got to tell myself. That yes, this person may have a total different view, but if their views are with spiritual conviction and in spiritual alignment, how can their truth be nothing but truth? But their truth doesn't have to be my reality. I can still accept them and see where they're coming from, have that empathy on how they came to this understanding, but it still doesn't have to be my reality. I have the choice on how my life unfolds. You have the choice on how your life unfolds. The hard part is turning off the cell phone, turning off the TV, and wondering what shoe is dropping next. Instead of worrying about what shoe's dropping, how about let's just put our shoes on and go out for a walk and see the infinite possibilities of spirit in the mountains, in the birds, in the trees, in the grass. Hell, even in our parking lot. See the spiritual beauty of that parking lot outside, knowing that it is a parking spot for where I come and I get spiritually fed so that I can improve my life, so that I can be the example for someone else to improve their life. And that's how the world gets better. By being the change you want to see in this world. We should work not with anxiety, but with expectancy. Not coercion, but conviction. Not through compulsion, but in a state of conscious recognition and receptivity. It means believe what you're talking about here. Don't go, oh, I really want that job. I really hope I get that job. No, just know. That job's mine. In fact, I've got a friend who entered one of those lotteries and said, I'm going to win this trip. I'm going on some cruise. Bought a few tickets. I'm not worried about it. Lo and behold, Spirit said yes. And that person won that trip, and he went off to some European cruise or something like that. Had a great time. But it works. State your claim not with hope, but with a knowingness. Not an arrogant knowingness, but a knowingness like it's breathing. This is what I want to experience in life. I release my word, and so it is. No other energy other than that. When you come from that place of understanding and that level of energy, that level of realizing the truth of who and what we are, that's when real demonstrations happen. And it may be in a millisecond, it may take a year, but it's always in the right and sequential order of spirit. Because spirit is perfect, life, therefore, must be perfect. And if I think that my life is anything less than that, then I have the obligation to change my thinking and reevaluate how I'm viewing William, to allow William the opportunity to change and become what I now think that William should be. God's idea, which is perfect man, manifesting the attributes of God in freedom, happiness, activity, and power. And that this truth is now manifested in his life. Perfect. Always on time, sequential order, but it's our thoughts. My mind needs to change to create that reality. I don't need to worry about how to make it happen. Spirit always puts on my path those who are divinely guided for my highest and best good. It's fun to think about, oh, well, I've got to turn right here, I've got to do that. And yes, move your feet. I've got to move my feet. But I'm knowing that every single idea that I have and every step that I'm taking to create whatever it is I want, I'm getting closer and closer. But better yet, I only have to do 50% of the work. Why is that? Because someone else is being divinely guided for their highest and best good, and their highest and best good and my highest and best good align, and so we both are meeting. So isn't that nice knowing that you don't have to do 100% of the work? Spirit's only asking you for 50%. You're 100% spirit in action, but you only need to put 50% in? God, if only my stock market would work like that. God's world is perfect, and this is the principle we have to demonstrate. Bingo. In a nutshell. And anybody who knows me knows what bingo means to me. And Dr. Joe next month is starting his prayer workshop, and that's exactly what you're going to be learning. Bingo. This is a scientific proof. Bingo is a way that we pray, or a movement of thought for a specific purpose. Bingo stands for begin with God, include yourself, name your good, gratitude, over and out. That's as much as I'm going to talk about that today, but please join us when Dr. Joe is here. Believe me, that man makes watching paint dry fun. You'll have the time of your life, but diamonds to donuts, your life is going to change. You're going to see how that you are no longer the victim that you have thought you were for however many years it's been. That you do have the ability and have always had the ability to create the life of your dreams. A new science, a new religion, a new philosophy are rapidly being developed. That was 1927, basically almost 100 years ago. It's never stopping. Spirit is always expanding. So that means old paradigms that were good back then need to change. And they're always changing, but the truth is always the same. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Be the change you want to see in the world. God only says yes. There is no denying, no withholding from spirit. And what others call sin is nothing more than an archer's term, meaning that I missed the mark. So if you thought you sinned, that only means that you missed the mark. Hit the reset button. Try it again. Come from a new point of view. Come from a better consciousness. And watch you hit the mark. True thought deals directly with first cause. And this science is a study of first cause, or the truth, that invisible essence, that ultimate stuff, and the intelligence from which everything comes. The power back of creation, the thing itself. Thank you for your time.